died in the early 1960s and was, among other things, a practicing latter-day alchemist, and very much deeply involved in alchemy. He was also thoroughly conversant with the esoteric and mystical traditions of the East, and at the same time equally conversant and familiar with the modern developments in science, mathematics, physics, and so on. It was Schwaller who, in 2 decades of work in Egypt, mainly at the Temple of Luxor, who reformulated in transmittable and accessible fashion the wisdom of the ancients. It is through Schwaller that we're able, for the first time, to actually gain access to the doctrine, the sacred science or sacred sciences responsible for those astonishing resonating temples, pyramids, and tombs. Prior to Schwaller, there was a long-standing tradition dating back to the Greeks themselves, in which ancient Egypt was the fount of all wisdom, which subsequently degenerated and dispersed over time. But prior to Schwaller, it was impossible to actually argue from documented evidence that this was indeed the case. Schwaller provides the documentation in impeccable form. It's there to be disproved if anyone can do so. In the 50 years since Schwaller produced the body of his work, a number of scholars have abused him roundly, but none have actually offered anything resembling satisfactory disproof or discredit to his extraordinary works.
In its own way, the Temple of Man was a kind of Rosetta Stone. It contained the means within itself, Schwaller, to decode and reconstruct the layers and subtleties of the symbolic and sacred technology of the ancient mysteries. Schwaller showed that the temple was not just the location of the teaching, but was itself the teaching. Its hieroglyphics and harmonic proportions contained a catalogue of the occult laws, sacred geometry, and archetypal forces that combined to make the universe, at its culmination, living man. Through a chain of analogies, occult correspondences, sacred geometry and symbolism, the temple itself becomes the actual technology through which one can undergo the initiation process and begin to experience the mentality and magic of the ancients. The temple echoes and amplifies the great arcanum, as above, so below. Man and the cosmos can be seen to be magically analogous, governed by the same rules of sacred geometry, each an octave of the other.